What's good, everybody? It's your boy First Degree back at y'all with another video. And if you've been enjoying the content lately, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell notification so you don't miss out on anything. And without further ado, let's talk about Monday Night Raw. So to open the show, we had a CM Punk promo. He came out and pretty much just went on a rant talking about Seth Rollins, going over their history that, they've been talking about the past couple of weeks, referencing, Rollins asking him to train, asking him for wrestling lessons when he was younger. And basically, CM Punk kind of took a play on that, saying that, it's never been Seth Rollins' fault. It was all my fault because I was a bad teacher and a bad mentor. But don't worry, Seth Rollins, when you come out here later today, I can give you that wrestling lesson for free right now. And basically telling Seth Rollins, he's going to beat him up, calling, making fun of him, calling him, a little boy to him, basically, and this and that. And that's when, he kept trying to get, Seth Rollins to come out. He kept saying what he's going to do to him. He compared him to Drew McIntyre. Basically said, you're not tougher than Drew McIntyre. So if I did that to him, imagine what I'm going to do to you. Yada, yada, just basic, banter stuff to try to get under your opponent's skin. He kept trying to trigger Seth Rollins, music to hit. And he kept calling his songs stupid and things like that. It was, it was pretty good stuff. And then, funny enough, Seth Rollins' music doesn't actually hit. You kind of just hear his voice laughing from the crowd, calling CM Punk's name, and then he appears in the stands, and then Seth Rollins goes on his little rant, basically, going at it with Punk, basically, just talking about him. And he threw, the fact that he main evented, night one of WrestleMania last year in Punk's face, called him Phil, and basically saying that no matter what, you'll never get that feeling. That kind of incited CM Punk. Then they met each other in the crowd, started brawling, around the crowd area and then towards the announce table, kind of all over the ring area. And basically, Adam Pearce and a whole bunch of guys in suits come out, break it up, and yeah, that was that for the most part. So solid opening to the show. Honestly, was the best part of the show, if you ask me. Everything else was pretty mid to just not caring about for the most part. But yeah, they opened it up with that, and it was pretty good. Pretty good. Next up, Kaiser, made his entrance for his match against Braun Breaker and had a weird long break for whatever reason. Because after he made his entrance and went to commercial break, we come back and the screen's not even on him. He's still out in the ring just chilling while we got a backstage segment. Basically, Pearce comes to Seth Rollins. He's yelling at him, why'd you go out there and do that, yada, yada. Seth Rollins like, well, you need to do your job as the GM and this and that, yo. Then Adam Pearce, oh, girl, y'all go do my job, blah, blah, blah. That part was pretty much just filler to set up Drew McIntyre basically coming to confront Seth. Now, this was interesting. It was interesting because we haven't seen Seth and Drew McIntyre face-to-face since, I believe, like SummerSlam, when Seth Rollins was a special guest referee for the match between Drew McIntyre and CM Punk. Him and Drew McIntyre are talking about how Drew McIntyre said, Seth, I'm right. We're the only ones who see it is for what it is here. You called me obsessed with the whole CM Punk thing, but now you're seeing what I'm talking about. And you know that Jey Uso and Sami Zayn and Jimmy Uso all need to be taken out. That's when Seth Rollins kind of throws in Drew McIntyre's face, look, you saying they need to be taken out because they teamed up with Roman Reigns. But last year, when I was taking out the Bloodline at WrestleMania, helped getting Roman Reigns out of power, which I did, guess who was helping me? Sami Zayn and Jey Uso, and not you. Basically telling Drew McIntyre, like, you've put in no work when it comes to the whole Roman Reigns situation, yet you have the most to complain about it. He's like, at least Sami Zayn and Jey Uso, they did something about it. Sure, they teamed with Roman Reigns at Survivor Series, but at the end of the day, the main task was dealt, and he's out of power. He's no longer the champion. He's no longer, I guess, the technical tribal chief, but that I don't think Seth and everybody else really cares about that. They mainly just cared about him holding the championship hostage for like 3 years, in their view. But yeah, and he basically he kind of little bro. Honestly, Seth kind of cooked. He kind of cooked Drew McIntyre in this segment, man. Like, he's basically like, yeah, bro, I did all the work. I took out Roman Reigns. You did nothing. And then as far as CM Punk goes, I'm going to do, what you couldn't do, basically, because I'm better. He kind of little bros him and says, yeah, I'm going to show you how to really get CM Punk up out of there. I'm going to take him down. And, you just sit back and watch the king do work, basically. And that was the end of that. Pretty good segment. Seth Rollins was cooking, and Drew McIntyre kind of just sat there looking stupid. after that, we get the Braun Breaker versus Kaiser match, and as far as matches go, this is probably the better ones of the night. Braun Breaker has just been consistently putting on the best matches, honestly. Been putting on the best matches, been putting in the best work, so that's been great. And yeah, Braun Breaker, he ends up winning. It was a pretty solid match. Kaiser was working, Braun Breaker's arm. There's a lot of rest holds and stuff, but Braun Breaker was still putting out some pretty cool, crazy offense. I don't remember the whole match like moment by moment off the top of my head, so I'm not gonna go into that. But it was pretty solid. I enjoyed it, thought it was good, and Braun Breaker ends up retaining, and Kaiser takes another L. Next up, we had New Day entering the building backstage, and as they go into the locker room, Rey Mysterio pops out. Rey Mysterio pops out, kind of blocks the door, and New Day, Kofi, and the Woods are like, "Oh, Rey, what's going on? You gonna let us in, man?" And Rey's like, "Look, guys, sorry, but a lot of guys don't really want you in the locker room, and I agree. You went too far with Big E." And Woods is like, "Are you kidding me? After all we've been through," and Woods like, "You mean to tell me 10 years and you guys can't see where we're coming from, me and you, Rey, and we've been in this business for so long together and yada yada." And Rey's basically like, "No, bro, like we don't care. None of us like you anymore." And Woods is like, "You know what? Fine. We didn't want to change with you guys anyway." Kind of the whole, you know what? I didn't want to come to your birthday party anyway. When you find out you're not invited, but really you planned like your whole weekend around your friend's birthday party. You got your whole outfit ready and stuff. You tried to get them the best gift that you could from like Toys R Us, that your mom was willing to pay for. But then you're just you find out you can't go. You're like, "You know what? I never wanted to come here in the first place." It's like, "Yeah, sure, buddy." And that was pretty much that segment. And then the War Raiders, they cut themselves a promo, which I'm gonna be honest, guy, I don't remember what was said. I just know they said something about winning the tag team championships later on that night, and they were in like a dark room with the light casting on them, something like that. I'll probably rewatch it. I probably won't rewatch it again. It was a promo, the silhouette promos. Next up, when they come back from a break or whatever, Pierce announces CM Punk versus Seth Rollins for the show of Netflix. So we're definitely going to have to do like a prediction video on that as we get closer and closer to the Netflix premiere. Probably be like a day or a week before, whenever the card gets finalized. But they're putting it on tough. They've now got the Tribal Chief showdown between Reigns and Solo Sikoa. Possible Rock return could be happening on that episode. Seth Rollins versus CM Punk now, and they added another match, which we'll get to next. Judgment Day comes out, just Dom, Rhea, and Dom, Liv, and Raquel. Oh yeah, by the way, I forgot. They did have a segment earlier with all of them in the locker room, and Finn Balor was pretty much complaining how nobody from the Judgment Day came and helped them, even though I'm pretty sure he told everybody to like sit back and let me do it. I don't know. I could be imagining things wrong. But yeah, he's basically saying how, none of you came out to help me. And Liv was like, "Well, JD was focusing on the War Raiders match, which is you have tonight for your tag team titles. So his priorities were there. And I had my own match, and Raquel was obviously helping me with that. Plus, we just sat back because we believed in you, and whenever we listen to Finn, we win. And Raquel and Liv and Dom are kind of like jabbing at him, making fun of him. And Finn was like clearly just pissed off at that. But yeah, that was pretty much that whole segment that was earlier in the show. And then the one that is happening now, you had, like I said, Dom, Liv Morgan, Raquel. Dom, comes out. He's trying to speak. He's trying to talk about how great Liv Morgan is. They pump in the crowd noise and make it seem like he's getting booed out the arena. And then Liv Morgan gets to talking. She has this big megaphone for whatever reason. She's talking into that. And then Rhea Ripley's music hits. She comes out. Liv tries to interrupt her. Rhea's like, "Shut up, Liv, blah, blah, blah." All the fans go crazy. And basically, she's talking about how this whole rivalry has been going on long enough and it needs to finally end, which I agree. They need to hurry up and get this Liv Morgan, Rhea Ripley thing over with. Like Rhea said, this has been going on way, way too long. So Rhea Ripley, she comes out, does her thing. announces that it's been made official. So this is another match that will be on the Netflix episode. Rhea Ripley versus Liv Morgan for the World Heavyweight Women's Championship. And then I believe they cut to commercial break. They tried to get an interview with Seth Rollins right before he leaves the arena. Drew McIntyre is like in the background behind him. Then he gets attacked by Sami Zayn. They brawl for a little bit. Drew McIntyre tells Sami Zayn he'll put him in a box. So, I mean, he just threatened to murder a man on live television. Nothing new for the WWE. And, yeah, you know, they cut to the, then after that, actually, there's a Miz and Final Testament segment. Miz is pretty much trying to, you know, hype up Paul Ellering and the AOP and says, you know, you guys have done your thing. You guys are great. Now it's time for us to go our separate ways. But then when he tries to walk off, Karrion Kross is like right behind him. Karrion Kross has basically kidnapped the Miz at this point. He's holding him hostage saying, next week, you're going to go up toe-to-toe against Dexter Lumis, the guy that kidnaps you, and we're going to strike first against the Wyatts this time. Because what they did to Ellering and what they did to Scarlett Bordeaux, this isn't over until I say it's over. So there's that. Next week, we're going to have Miz versus Dexter Lumis. Yay. Next up, we have Zoe Stark versus Raquel Rodriguez and Kaden Carter, and they have a decent little triple threat match for the tournament and the IC Championship. I thought Raquel was going to win. I thought Raquel should have won. I would have been even cool with Kaden Carter winning because she's really cool. She has cool moves. I think she's got potential to be a really good babyface if booked right, but that's a whole different story. But WWE decided that Zoe Stark of the Pure Fusion Collective, the worst stable name I've ever heard in my entire life, should win the match, and that's exactly what happened. Zoe Stark moves on, and bro, can we just talk about that group? Like, they try to make them be the Shield, like the women's version of the Shield. Like, you put the worst possible people in one group. They all have like the same personality, right? Sonya somewhat has her own personality, but she says a whole bunch of nothing for the most part. Shayna Baszler never speaks really, and when she does, she's just talking about breaking bones. And Zoe Stark is just great in the ring, but like boring. Very bland, very boring. And you put all of them in one stable. And you gave that stable the worst name in the history of stable names. And you just let that fly. I don't think more needs to be said. Next up, you had a little mini segment. Pete Dunne, for like the 15th billionth time, finds R-Truth. Tell him to start calling him Butch. R-Truth keep saying, Butch, please. You better watch out. And then Alpha Academy's back there with him. Otis basically like stops Pete Dunne. He's like, hey, man, back off. Watch out. Pete Dunne clearly didn't want those Otis problems, so he got up out of there. He's like, this is your last warning. This is your last warning, R-Truth. And R-Truth says, Butch, please, again. Is just laughing. Bro, R-Truth is the best, bro. Like, no matter what R-Truth is doing, it's always great. Like... They could put him literally in anything, bro. I think they could literally put R-Truth in a world title feud right now, and nobody would complain. But then, Alpha Academy comes through. No, not Alpha Academy. American Made comes through. They got too many of these high school, college names, bro. Chase U, Alpha Academy, American Made. But I digress. American Made comes through. Chad Gable basically comes up. He's like, look what you guys have done to my former Alpha Academy. You made it a joke. Dupree, you're a joke. Tozawa, you're a joke. Otis, you're the biggest joke of them all. And he basically just gets to cooking Otis. But then Otis stops him in his tracks like, hey, bro, shut up before, you catch these hands, basically. Chad Gable kind of backed up because he noticed he didn't want these problems. Then he said, like, I'm going to make an example or something out of them like that, of that nature. And then of course, he picks on Tozawa first because Tozawa's the little guy. And so I guess they got a match for next week. I don't know. But, man, Chad Gable, bro, they just dropped the ball. Hopefully he gets drafted over to SmackDown, becomes U.S. champ or something, because they need to do something with him fast, bro. He had all that momentum in the beginning of the year, and they just threw it down the drain. So that was that segment. Next up, you had New Day backstage, as they were trying to find a place, to get a locker room. They're about to get interviewed when once again an interview gets interrupted. Bro, I'm so tired of them interrupting promos and interviews of people that are actually good on the mic and can talk for some mess that no one cares about. The fake wannabe Women's Shield Pure Fusion pieces together attacks Kairi Sane backstage, and she hurts her arm, I guess. And I guess Kairi Sane won't be able to compete next week in the Intercontinental title tournament that we know Kairi Sane wasn't going to win anyway, let's be honest. Even though she should, because she's probably the best wrestler in the entire tournament. You know, we're talking about, like, from a real standpoint, you know, when they actually let Kairi Sane wrestle and go crazy. If you've seen her work in Stardom, you've seen her work in NXT, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But that's a whole different rant that I'm not going to go on. But, yeah, they interrupted the New Day for that. So, thanks again, WWE, for just not letting New Day speak and not having New Day do anything for, like, the third week in a row. I don't even know why they showed up to the locker room. Clearly, they didn't have to change because they didn't do anything on the show anyway. But whatever. And yeah, that was that. Last but not least, we had the War Raiders in the main event go against the tag team champions Finn Balor and JD McDonough of the Judgment Day. And it was a good match. It was a good, solid tag team contest. I'm not going to lie. They gave them like 20 minutes to work. When you give the War Raiders actual time to work, they can show that they're actually a very good tag team. Their run in NXT was one of the best runs of a tag team in recent years. The matches they had with the Undisputed Era were top tier every single time. And the matches that the War Raiders had with Aleister Black and Ricochet, easily one of the greatest tag team matches of all time that I've ever seen. If you haven't seen it in a while, if you've never seen it, go check it out, and you'll see exactly what the War Raiders are capable of. And that's how I need the WWE to start booking them. But yeah, basically, you know, they had their match. Towards the end, Finn Balor tries to go for a chair to do something illegal. Then a hooded figure holds the chair so Finn Balor can't grab it. And Joe Tessitore's like, why isn't the chair moving? Or maybe Wade Barrett said it, I don't know. But, excuse me. Yeah, basically, Damian Priest was the guy in the hooded chair. He hits Finn Balor. Finn Balor goes in the ring. War Raiders hit him with their finishing move, and they close the show out, holding up the tag belt, celebrating. All in all, I mean, I maybe give this Monday Night Raw like a 5 out of 10. I mean, the Braun Breaker match was decent. CM Punk promo was good. His stuff with everything that had to do with Seth Rollins was good. And the main event was solid. Everything else, won't think about ever again. I'm just being honest. Yeah, bro, it's kind of weird. Like, Monday Night Raw is at a point where it's like the main event guys never really wrestle that much no more. They don't really have them do too much. They may have them cut a promo here and there, and then they just got a whole bunch of filler jobber mess. And, you know, you hate to look at it in that light, but it's like, if it's not Bloodline story related, it really doesn't mean much. Gunther, speaking of, Gunther wasn't even on the show today, and he's the World Heavyweight Champion coming off a successful title defense. And he was not even on the show today, unless I'm tripping. But I'm pretty sure Gunther didn't make one appearance, bro. So it's like, I don't even know what. No, if no one's important is ever on, nobody that you actually want to see is doing anything significant besides like maybe a promo here and there. I don't expect how they expect people to enjoy the show. So, I mean, that's my grade of Raw. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Am I tripping? Was Raw great? Was Raw awesome? Did you enjoy it? Or am I spot on? Was Raw just absolute, like, meh, whatever? Do we even have anything to look forward to SmackDown this week? NXT is probably going to be awesome. Let's be honest. Coming off the Deadline. No, Deadline was a couple weeks ago. But, you know, NXT's just been great lately. So, yeah, man, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Appreciate if you have been watching the video. This is kind of a longer one, kind of went over the whole show. But, yeah, appreciate if you guys made it this far to the end of the video. And that's all I got for you today. I'm out. Peace.